Dear students, we continue with the class Organic Matter in Soils. So we discussed some part of this. Today we are going to discuss the decomposition of organic matter in detail. So some glossary was taught to you, and then factors affecting plant growth. In this, you can see soil is very important factor that affect the plant growth. And in soil, you got organic matter, which has very important role in plant growth. And then we discuss the soil composition, mineral 45%, organic matter 5%, and air and water are 50%. And then certain soil pollutants are there, and how they are related to organic matter. Can we use organic matter to remediate the soils which have pollutant? Yes, up to some extent, organic matter can help in this regard. Today, I will show you in the next lecture how this organic matter is helping to reduce the load of the soil pollutants on the crop plants. Then we have seen importance of organic matter, carbon. Carbon cycle, we know now there are three major components: photosynthesis, respiration, and decomposition. And then we detailed the meaning of soil organic matter, its definition, and then matter arising from living matter is your organic matter. The simplest answer to define organic matter arising from living matter is organic matter. And then we have seen different parts of organic matter: unaltered material, partially decomposed, and transformed products. We have also seen parts of humus, non-humic substances, and humic substances. And humic substances are three: fulvic, humic acid, and humin. And we have seen how they are extracted from the soil and how they are classified, and seen the characteristics of the humic substances. And then we have seen some nature of humus, the properties of the humus. It has very high cation exchange capacity. Cation exchange capacity is very, very important in nutrient availability and retention, because it is a capacity of 100 gram soil or 1 kilogram soil to hold the nutrients. What quantity of nutrients are present on the clay complex or on the humus complex? So total of these is your total cation exchange capacity, shared by inorganic colloids and organic colloids. Organic colloid is humus, which have very large cation exchange capacity. And it also got higher water absorptive capacity. You have seen the variability in different components of humus in grassland and forest system. So you have more organic matter, more kind of permanent organic matter in grassland compared to forest lands. And then seen the physical characterization of soil organic matter. Crop residues are having more than 2 millimeter. POM, particulate organic matter, less than 2 millimeter to 0.053. And less than 0.053 is humus. And then you have recalcitrant or resistant organic carbon, which is in elemental form, biologically stable, and example is charcoal. And this benefits of humus, and besides supplying nutrients, besides improving physical, chemical, and biological properties of the soil, humus material also affect the plant growth directly by accelerating the uptake of water or enhancing germination of seed or root stimulation and root elongation, etc. And then you have seen elemental composition of organic matter as well as different kind of organic matter, living organism, and so on. A composition of plant residues you have seen. So in composition, you can see it is mostly carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and then ash. Ash contains your minerals. Now, decomposition of soil organic matter. This is the topic, and what happens when organic materials are added to the soil. So in this case, we are going to discuss decomposition under aerobic soils as well as decomposition under anaerobic soil. Aerobic soils are those where you have sufficient levels of oxygen in the top layer. And anaerobic soil, you do not have sufficient oxygen in the top layer. That is your anaerobic soil. In anaerobic soil, you will find they are saturated soil and sometimes they are waterlogged. So we see such kind of soil in low-lying areas where mainly rice crop is grown. And you also see these kind of soils under marshy lands. Marshy lands, for example, we have Sundarban. In Sundarban, you have a lot of water, lot of vegetation, and that area is waterlogged. And also, it is also called as submerged land. You can call it waterlogged land. You can also call it submerged land. So in submerged land or waterlogged land, these are anaerobic. Even under our condition, in certain valleys, low-lying area, you can have waterlogged soils. So we will see how decomposition happens under two settings, mainly under our cultivated conditions. In cultivated conditions, we will see it. So once organic matter is added to soil, decomposing organism begin digesting them. So in this case, you can say the decomposition of organic matter is actually breakdown of organic materials into small pieces. And then from small pieces, you have to make the humus. Humus will have humic substances and non-humic substances. Up to that level, decomposition proceeds. So it is actually degradation. Means composition means what are the constituents that are making a substance. That is composition. Decomposition, when you break down the composition, that is your decomposition. Sometimes it is called as degradation also, because you are making it low, degrading its value. Okay, but in that sense of breakdown, degradation is also used for this decomposition of organic matter. And sometimes people also say it is oxidation of organic matter, but under certain conditions, it is actually fermentation which is happening. And you know, fermentation does not require oxygen. So it can happen under anaerobic conditions also. So oxidation is not the only means for decomposition of organic matter. The simplest way to decompose organic matter is you take organic matter and burn it. If you burn it, it will be oxidized, carbon will be oxidized, and you will get breakdown of the organic matter. And carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen will go into flame, and whatever is left is your ash, and that contains your mineral. Of course, when you burn it, some of the sulfur can also be escaped in the form of sulfur dioxide. Some phosphorus can escape, but most of the other minerals, they will remain as such. There will not be any loss of potassium if you burn organic matter. Potassium, calcium, magnesium, zinc, copper, all these kind of elements, they will not escape to the environment. They will remain in the ash, potassium, sodium, and so on. That is why if you see in India, it has been an age-old practice to clean our home utensils by rock, ash, because it is rich in sodium and potassium, which act as a cleaning agent. So that is also kind of decomposition of organic matter, decomposition of organic matter. So once organic matter added to soil, decomposing organisms begin digesting them. Decomposition proceeds more quickly under warm soil temperature. If you have warm soil temperature with adequate moisture and adequate aeration. So these are the best conditions. Here, warm soil temperature may be around 25 to 30 degrees centigrade, and adequate soil moisture should be about 25%, and good aeration. If you have 25% moisture, that means 25% aeration will be there. Under these ideal conditions, one can have maximum rate of decomposition. Carbon compounds remaining after decomposition become part of stable soil organic matter called humus. So in the end, humus is the stable form. You can see decomposition rate of different compounds in the organic matter. So organic matter may contain sugars also. You see, sugars are there in the organic matter, and they are the first casualty. They will be broken down first, followed by starches, then simple proteins, then crude proteins, hemicellulose, cellulose, fats, waxes, resins, and lignins are the last one, which are broken at the end. So you can see that the organic materials which are rich in sugar or starches or simple proteins will decompose much faster than the organic materials which have larger proportion of lignin, resins, waxes, etc. Your wood material, and you have leaves also. So leaves will decompose faster because they may have less quantity of lignin, resin, with waxes, etc. compared to wood. So therefore, wood takes more time for decomposition. So the content of these, relative proportion of these compounds also decide the rapidity of decomposition. Then you see it is a general plan of decomposition of soil organic matter. Soil organic matter, general plan. And in this, there are two major reactions. One is humification, other is mineralization. On one side, humus is formed, and on the other side, minerals are formed. Minerals, your phosphorus, sulfur, nitrogen, like that. So suppose you have a litter. Litter is organic material. It is added to the soil, and litter will decompose. Litter will decompose and give rise to inorganic nutrients. It will give rise to inorganic nutrients. But in soil, these inorganic nutrients can be taken up by microbes, or they can be reconstituted into organic material or organic compounds, you can say. Inorganic nutrients can be later on part of the organic compounds. So such cycles are there, such balances are there in the soil. And litter can also give you not just inorganic nutrients, it can give you dissolved organic carbon. We discussed about dissolved organic nitrogen. You get one more kind of here carbon, which is dissolved organic carbon. So it can be easily dissolved in water, labile kind of carbon. And then this litter here means organic material can give to humus. So you will get the humus also. And on the other side, some carbon dioxide will be released from the soil. So generalized pathway for transformation of litter to humus and inorganic carbon. Now see, this is very, very important picture for you. Pathway of humification. Can you see it? All the three are on mobile, or you have provision to enlarge the screen? Can you see it or not?
Yes, sir.
We can.
You can increase the size of the slide. Okay. So now you try to understand it. It is very simple as well as complicated. But if you understand it, you will know how the decomposition proceeds or how it happens in the soil. So things would be much clear in your mind. Now you see plant and animal residues on the top. They are added into the soil. So we'll see one by one what happens to different compounds in them. Suppose in the first go, you see sugar, starch, hemicellulose, cellulose. These are simple carbohydrates, you can say, and they are broken down. So there may be two options. If you have anaerobic soil, if you have waterlogged soil, then it will go to anaerobic decomposition. Anaerobic decomposition. And in anaerobic decomposition, as you know, that products like organic acids or aldehydes or alcohols, they are formed under anaerobic conditions. And they can further decompose. These organic acids, alcohol, can further decompose, and they can produce carbon dioxide and water. Here you can also add some methane. Some methane will also be there. But in the soil, some methane is converted into carbon dioxide. And some carbon dioxide is converted into methane. So very interesting reactions in soil. So this is anaerobic decomposition of organic materials, particularly carbohydrates. Now you see aerobic decomposition of these organic materials, sugar, starch, hemicellulose, cellulose. If aerobic decomposition is there, means oxygen is there, then they are straightway converted to carbon dioxide and water. And energy is released in both the cases. In both cases, energy is released. In one case, energy is low. In aerobic decomposition, energy is high. Now you see what happens to nitrogenous compounds. Nitrogenous compound like amino acids, peptides, polypeptides, proteins, etc. So they will be mineralized. They will be mineralized to form ammonium nitrate, H2O, sulfate, or maybe sometimes phosphate and carbon dioxide. And then what happens? These kind of inorganic minerals can be utilized by soil microbes and resynthesis can occur. Resynthesis can occur means they can enter again into organism and become part of certain organic molecules like enzymes and protein in microbes. So these mineralized material can be taken up by microbes. Resynthesis can happen and microbial cell substances. Now they become microbial cell substances. Further, these microbes will die and then they will be decomposed, they will die and decay. They will form cellulose, proteins, etc. That can be resynthesized into humus. So humus is directly produced from organic matter. This is one pathway. Second is that it can be reconstituted in the soil by microbes. Now see what happens to fats, waxes, and resins. They are straightway broke down to carbon dioxide and water. And then you see lignin. Lignin is residual lignin, phenol, quinone, broken down into these compounds. And then lignin can be directly part of the humus. And this lignin compounds like phenol, quinone, they can also combine with soil nutrients, bases, and metals and become part of humus. So this is how this humus is produced. And you can also see mineralization is also happening here. Do you have any questions in this?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, products of decomposition. So products of decomposition you have seen, they vary with the availability of oxygen and they vary with the kind of compound which are dominating in the plant material. So product of decomposition differ in aerobic versus anaerobic environment. Decomposition in aerobic soil. There is a significant diversity of decomposing organisms, including larger animals. In general, rate of decomposition of organic matter is much faster than anaerobic condition. Because in aerobic conditions, you have variety of organisms. The biodiversity of soil is very, very high. The number of species is very, very high. Therefore, decomposition rate is very faster. Because in nature, you have more aerobic organism than anaerobic organism. So aerobic organisms are large in number, large in species. So therefore, under aerobic condition, decomposition rate is very fast. So aerobic respiration results in more energy than anaerobic respiration. A significant portion of the digested carbon is released as CO2. Means most of the carbon, whatever is lost from the soil is as carbon dioxide under aerobic condition. Now, how this process happens actually? How this process happens? Process of decomposition. In the beginning, suppose you are adding manure, you are adding organic residues. Their particle size is large. They cannot be directly attacked by the organism. So there is a series of organisms are involved, like termite, earthworms, arthropods, variety of organisms are there. Some are macroorganisms, some are meso, and some are micro. All these organisms have some role to play. For example, you must have not heard that nematodes are also there for decomposition of organic matter. There are a number of species of nematodes that help in the decomposition of organic matter, like fungi or bacteria. So mechanical shedding of soil organic matter by soil fauna. Fauna means animals here. Physical processes, both biological as well as physical breakdown. Physical processes must occur before the microbes break it down. Means, first of all, it has to be broken down into small pieces. Then it can be attacked by microbes. So following four processes occur during the decomposition. Plant carbon compounds are enzymatically oxidized to produce carbon dioxide. So actually organisms which are involved, say fungi, bacteria, nematode, or any other organism which is involved in digestion or decomposition of soil organic matter, they are not directly doing anything. They do their job by releasing certain enzymes. So these microbes release enzyme, and those enzymes break down the organic materials. So these microbes digest the organic matter with the help of enzymes. So plant carbon compounds are enzymatically oxidized to produce carbon dioxide, water, energy, and decomposer biomass. Decomposer biomass here means in the end microbes will also die and they will have their biomass. Then what happens? Number two, essential nutrient elements such as N, P, S, nitrogen, phosphorus, sulfur are released and or are immobilized. First they are released and they can be again immobilized by microbes by a series of specific reactions that are relatively unique for each element. So there may be a variety of fixation of these nutrients. Sometimes biological fixation can happen. These mineralized nutrients can become part of microbes. They can be ingested by microbes. This is one, and they can go for chemical fixation also. So, for example, phosphorus can be chemically fixed, and it can be converted into, depending upon soil pH, it can be converted into calcium phosphate in alkaline condition, and it can convert into aluminum phosphate or manganese phosphate or some phosphate under acidic conditions. Third one is that new compounds are synthesized by microbes as cellular constituent, means they make these nutrients as part of their body or as a breakdown product or secondary metabolites. Some of the original plant compounds, they are breakdown products, and some of the original plant compounds, they are breakdown products, and microbial compounds become physically or chemically protected from further microbial decay via interaction with the soil environment. So it is quite complex phenomenon. The synthesis and breakdown can happen together. Now, actual decomposition in aerobic soil continues. So microbial activity during organic decay. If you have aerobic conditions, there are two kinds of microbes which are important. One is microbe with K strategy, and other is microbe with R strategy. So these kind of microbes are very, very important under aerobic conditions. So what are K strategy microbes? So a small population survive. This is mainly bacteria. A small population survive by slowly digesting the very resistant organic matter. See, this K strategy microbe attack the very resistant organic matter, means they can attack humic acid, fulvic acid, or humin, etc. They do not attack the freshly added material. They like to work hard and have enzymes with high affinity constants, K, affinity constant for resistant substrates. They prefer their food is resistant organic matter in soil. And they are basically adapted to soil poor in easily digestible organic matter. Means soils where you add fresh organic matter or recently added organic matter and easily digestible organic matter, K strategy microbes will not work, they will not multiply on those kind of materials. Other group is microbes with R strategy. R is for rapid, R strategy for survival. These are opportunist or colonizing organisms, awakened from their dormant state by the presence of new food supplies rich in easily decomposable compound. If you put some sugary compounds which are rich in starches, cellulose, hemicellulose, etc., that material can be easily broken down. If you add these kind of materials, then the growth of these microbes is very fast. They get awakened, they wake up and start their work, and their growth is very fast. They eat the organic material very fast. So you can see that. I will show you one picture, difference in K strategy and R strategy. Then there is one effect, priming effect. So priming effect is the peak level of microbial activity. So peak level of microbial activity means where microbes multiply very fast. And how we can know it? So many biologists study the microbial activity indirectly by the evolution of carbon dioxide. You can take certain quantity of soil and test it for carbon dioxide evolution. If carbon dioxide evolution is very high, that means microbial activity is high. If CO2 level released from the soil is low, that means your microbial activity or number of microbes is less. So this microbial activity is mostly studied by CO2 evolution. Microbial activity appears to accelerate the decay of the original humus. So in this case, priming effect indicate the decay of the original humus. The humus level is increased in it, means there may be some decrease in level of humus, temporary decrease of humus when your R strategy microbes are growing fast. We will see in this picture priming effect. So you can see total microbial in the first picture. Y-axis, you can see soil organism population or CO2 released. So population is equivalent to CO2 released. On X-axis, you have time. So time. So now you can see some organic matter is added here. Organic matter is added here. Then suddenly this R stages. They grow very fast because freshly added and labile organic matter is there. So they attack very fast and their activity is increased. So this is your CO2 evolution of microbial activity, very high. And you can see the K strategies. So they are increasing, their activity is increasing, but at a very slow rate. And they are not using the recently added organic matter. They are using mostly the humus. And therefore, but in the end, you can see as the humus will increase because R strategy will ultimately, they will add humus to the soil. Once the humus is increasing, then your K strategy activity also increases. And then after a certain point of time, it decreases. So these are the differences in activities of R strategies and K strategies. See more clearly in the picture number 2, colored picture, yellow, brown, green. Fresh residues are added in the beginning. Time is on X-axis, and on Y-axis you have amount of organic substance in the soil, means organic matter in the soil or organic substance. So in the beginning you can see the brown one, the content of the organic humus, soil humus is constant in the beginning, and then there is microbial activity, more microbial activity, particularly the R strategies activity is very fast. So here, some of the humus carbon is consumed by K strategies. K strategies will consume some of the carbon. This is known as priming effect. And then in the end, you can see the humus is overall increased. The new humus level is high. In the beginning, the level was like this, humus level was this, but after decomposition, after the activity of R strategies ceases, then you will get the new soil humus level. Now, decomposition in submerged soil. So decomposition is slower. There are fewer decomposition organisms under anaerobic soils, mostly anaerobic bacteria. So here less energy is produced during anaerobic respiration. Mainly methane is produced. Buildup of transition products like organic acids and alcohol. So here there is no aerobic oxidation. Therefore, certain products like organic acids and alcohols are produced. So this is not complete decomposition of organic matter. This is partial decomposition. So there is net accumulation of soil organic matter under submerged soil. So here accumulation of organic matter is more compared to aerobic soil under identical condition. Suppose you have two kinds of soils in one climate. In one field, you have divided into two parts. 1 acre is aerobic and 1 acre is anaerobic. You have added same quantity of organic materials to both. And after 3-4 years, you will find that anaerobic soil contains much higher levels of organic matter than the aerobic soil. So there is net accumulation of soil organic matter under submerged soils. You can see the comparing products of decomposition under aerobic soils, it is mostly carbon dioxide. Under submerged soil, it is both carbon dioxide and methane. Under aerobic soils, most of the nitrogen will be converted into nitrate, and in submerged soil, it will be mostly ammonium. That is why aquatic plants like rice love to take ammonium, and many aquatic plants. So it is by nature. Okay, if you grow in waterlogged soil and in waterlogged soil, you do not have nitrate. So I will give you ammonium. So it is nature. Nature has given ammonium to rice and many aquatic plants. Sulfur, aerobic soil, sulfate, and in submerged soil, it is hydrogen sulfide, and which can be toxic to many aquatic plants. And others, organic acids and alcohol under submerged soil, which are not there in aerobic soil. Now you see methane. Methane emission is also there under submerged soil. So in the past few decades, methane has been monitored because of its role in climate change. CO2 and methane both contribute to the greenhouse effect. So you understand it. Methane is 25 times more potent than CO2 in absorbing radiation reflected from the Earth's surface. So now you see methane is lost from soil under anaerobic condition. It is not just rice. Any waterlogged soils, your oceans and other waterlogged bodies, they also release methane if organic matter is there in their bottom of soil. So ablution means bubbling through the soil and water layer. That is ablution. You can see in this picture, just methane releases very slowly in a passive way and through bubbles. It is ablution. Then diffusion, moving from areas of high to low concentration. So some methane is lost from the field by diffusion, and major mechanism is emission. Emission means passing through rice plant, parenchyma, and out from the leaves. Means methane first enters the roots and it passes through the stem, and through leaves it escapes to the environment. This is known as emission. Most methane in rice paddy moves through soil to atmosphere by emission. So methane emission is quite known to you, and 20 to 90% of methane produced in flooded soil is oxidized to CO2. Within soil, it is oxidized to carbon dioxide before being released to the atmosphere. So some is released as methane, some is oxidized back to CO2, and it depends upon the level of waterlogging also. In the picture, you can see that methane is produced by anaerobic decomposition, and then in the rhizospheric area, there is oxygen. Oxygen in the rhizospheric area where it is oxidized to produce CO2, and then the CO2 will escape. Now you can see these reactions, how methane is produced. You are well versed in it because you are from environmental science. So this is organic matter, organic material, C2H5COH, and water is there. So bacteria convert it to methane and carbon dioxide. And then there may be some other organic compound like CH3COH, and again methane and CO2 is produced. And you can see that CO2 plus H2O, it is also converted to methane. So you can see a variety of reactions are happening under anaerobic condition. Now, why slow decomposition is submerged soils? Because of slow decomposition, accumulation of organic matter is high. So why slow decomposition? Because deleterious effect on microbial activity of reduction products. So it produces reduction product like H2S or volatile fatty acids, which are toxic to the microbial activity. Therefore, slow microbial activity, absence of electron acceptors such as iron oxide and hydroxide in submerged soil and sediments, therefore slow down oxidation. And then formation of recalcitrant complex. Okay, just leave it. Now here just I want to conclude by saying the decomposition rate, constant humification rate under an anaerobic condition is very slow. Therefore, under anaerobic condition, waterlogged condition, you get more accumulation of carbon. Rice soil, if you continuously take rice in this, you can say, you will see this PowerPoint presentation I will share, and you can see how this cropping system affecting the organic carbon. If you take rice, your soil will be having a very high concentration of organic matter. And I show you one or two examples. So you can see this example. See the second column. If you take continuous rice, the organic matter is 2 to 2.15%. If you take rice under dryland crop, organic matter is low. Dryland crop means aerobic crop. And you can see rice, wheat, carbon percent is, organic matter is 2.14%. If you take rice, wheat, it is less. Means if you take 2 crop of rice or 3 crop of rice, then you will have more accumulation of organic matter in the soil. So similarly, nitrogen levels are also high if you have anaerobic condition. Organic matter has several roles, like it supplies nutrients to the plants and important source for nitrogen, sulfur. Here you can see the decomposition rate constant under anaerobic condition are what is that mean? Decomposition rate constant, sum of water soluble carbon, carbon dioxide and methane production. That is your decomposition rate constant. So you can see there can be 2 phases. One is rapid decomposition phase, other is intermediate. So you can see under anaerobic condition, the constant are less value, 0.118. But under anaerobic condition, it is higher, 0.123. Here, that means the loss of carbon is more under aerobic condition than anaerobic condition. See one more, humification coefficient. Try to understand meaning of humification constant. So it is fraction of organic carbon left or retained in the soil after 1 year of decomposition. For 1 year, you allow the decomposition, whatever carbon was added into it, out of which how much is remaining in the soil, what proportion or percentage is remaining in the soil, that is your humification coefficient. Let's see one more definition. Humification coefficient is the fraction of amount of organic matter input that is converted to humus, material in 1 year, means that remains in the soil. So you can see here that humification coefficient of rice root is higher. So higher the humification coefficient, slower is the decomposition, and also retention in soil is more. So you can see rice roots, they are difficult to decompose. So their humification coefficient is 0.5. But if you see rice stubbles 0.23, rice straw 0.23, wheat barley 0.31, azolla 0.43. So this is like this. Now you see effect of water regime on organic matter content of paddy soil in China. So you see there are different locations, and see the difference in waterlogged and aerobic. Waterlogged, you get 3.47% organic matter, and in well-drained, it is less. And then again, another location, waterlogged 3.23, well-drained 3.08, and lastly, waterlogged 3.12, and well-drained 2.1. So you can see that anaerobic conditions lead to increased organic matter in soil. Now, same story here. Same kind of thing here. Effect of rice-based cropping system on organic matter content of paddy soil in China. Continuous rice, cotton, you can see as you take more rice means more waterlogged condition, anaerobic condition, and more carbon dioxide also, more organic matter accumulation. Now, overall, you can see that global carbon stock in soil in major ecosystem. This is for soils. So you can see that area and average carbon density and soil carbon stock. You can go through it, but here I wish to show you that temperate grassland area is just 12.5, 10 to the power 6 square kilometer. and average carbon density is 236 megagram mg. Mg means megagram tons. It is equivalent to tons or 1000 kg per hectare. So it is having 117 tons per hectare of carbon, where this temperate grassland, and the soil carbon stock is very high, 295 picogram. Petagram, I think. Pg is petagram. Petagram is equal to 10 to the power 15 gram or billion T. So here you can see where the major carbon is stored. You can go through it. And what is role of organic matter? It is source of nutrients. Nutrients are supplied. It stores the nutrients because it acts as a colloidal material. Humus store the nutrient. Increase, or in one line you can say that it improves the physical, chemical, and biological conditions of the soil. Provides foods for organism, means it is improving the biological condition of the soil, improving aggregation of the soil, then water holding capacity of the soil, and root development is encouraged because humus, you have seen, humus can directly enhance the root growth. And overall, you have seen that in submerged soil, you have higher organic matter levels. Do you have any question at this point of time? Anything you want to ask? Any issue in your mind? Yes, Sai, you have any question?
Sir, I think it is clear, sir.
Any other?
Every point.